Your child doesn't always cry when they're hurt. Sometimes they go quiet. And that silence can fool almost any parent because quiet looks calm. Quiet looks easier. Quiet looks like the problem disappeared. But sometimes silence is what happens when a child no longer feels safe expressing what they feel. And most parents never notice the exact moment it begins. A child comes home upset from school. They try to explain what happened. But you're busy, tired, distracted. So you say, "You're overthinking it. You'll be fine. It's not a big deal." Simple words. Common words. But to a child, those moments can feel much bigger than adults realize. Because children are constantly asking one silent question. Is it safe to tell you how I feel? And if the answer keeps feeling like no, they slowly stop trying. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Many parents think a quiet child is a well-behaved child. But psychology shows that some children become quiet because they've learned their emotions are unwelcome. Not through one huge traumatic event, through tiny repeated moments. A child cries and gets told they're dramatic. A teenager opens up and gets interrupted. A boy says he feels lonely and hears, "Man up." Small moments. But children don't measure emotional pain the same way adults do. What seems small to you can stay in their mind for years. And here's the part nobody tells you. Some children go quiet because they don't want to become a burden. They notice when their parents are stressed, exhausted, frustrated. So instead of adding more problems, they hide what they feel. Think about how heartbreaking that is. A child hurting emotionally, while also trying to protect the adults around them. And eventually, something changes. They stop expressing sadness, then fear, then disappointment. Little by little, they become emotionally careful. And emotionally careful children often grow into emotionally distant adults. But here's where many parents miss the signs. The child still goes to school, still eats dinner, still says, "I'm okay." But emotionally, they're retreating, quietly. A teenager spends more time alone. Answers get shorter. Eye contact disappears. You think they just want space. Maybe they do. But maybe they're silently wondering, if I stop talking about my feelings, will anyone notice? That question hurts more than most people realize. Now this changes everything. Because up until now, this sounds like behavior, but it also affects the brain. When children repeatedly feel emotionally dismissed, they start learning that emotions are unsafe to express. So instead of processing feelings, they suppress them. And suppressed emotions rarely disappear. They often return later as anxiety, anger, emotional numbness, or withdrawal. This is why some adults struggle to open up even in healthy relationships. The silence started years earlier, and here comes the hardest part. Sometimes children stop talking not because they have nothing to say, but because hope became exhausting. They tried opening up before, tried crying, tried explaining, and eventually, they stopped trying. That moment is heavier than most people realize. But here's the reassuring part. Children do not need perfect parents. They need emotionally available ones. Small changes matter more than grand gestures. Instead of, "You're fine," try. That sounds hard. Instead of correcting immediately, listen first. Instead of dismissing emotions, be curious about them. A child says, "Nobody likes me." Your instinct may be, "Sarsi soendie." That's not true. But sometimes what they really need is something motives. Why do you feel that way? That question creates emotional safety. And children remember emotional safety for a very long time. This doesn't mean saying yes to everything. Boundaries still matter. Discipline still matters. But connection changes how children receive correction. A child who feels emotionally safe is far more likely to listen without feeling rejected. Because the message becomes, "I dislike the behavior," not, "I dislike you." And children remember that difference deeply. You'll make mistakes sometimes. Every parent does. You'll lose patience, miss signals, respond poorly. That alone does not damage a child. What matters most is the pattern. Repair matters. Listening matters. Trying again matters. Because children are incredibly forgiving when they genuinely feel loved. And maybe the most important thing to remember is this. Your child may forget many of the things you said, but they will always remember how safe it felt to be honest around you. And sometimes, the most powerful thing a parent can give a child is the feeling that no emotion is too much to bring home.